Hey guys, good morning. Today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about setting up your pedal chain. And there's a lot of theories out there on this. I'm not going to get too long-winded on this, but I'll give you a quick overview and break it down into easy to understand terms. Because you can really screw things up if you don't have it set up right, or at least not be getting out of it what you want to get out of it. I have a tube amp here. So that's my the amp that we're going into. When you set up your pedal board, what you want to do is you want to have all your distortions and your compressions at the end of your chain. Okay. At the beginning of your chain, you can have things like EQ, delay, flange, chorusing, all that kind of stuff. And I'll explain why. As your guitar comes into your chain, that's of course the cleanest signal coming straight from your guitar, unaltered signal. The first thing that I'll do with that signal is if I want to modify that signal, like let's say I have a Strat, and Strats tend to be a little bit top-endy. I'll use my EQ to bring down those highs a little bit, to be a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? To kind of take a little bit of the top off that Strat, so it's not so piercing. Because that single coil can be a little top-endy. So I'll use this to bring that back a touch. I have an acoustic simulator here. That's when I'm lazy, and when I was lazy and my band was playing and I didn't want to take an acoustic guitar, I used this acoustic simulator in my chain, and it didn't sound exactly like an acoustic guitar, but it was close. It warranted taking it. Then I have my pod. This has all my flanging, and it has my course and delays and all that kind of stuff. So you can see that stuff's at the beginning of the chain, okay? And then at the end of my chain, I have my direct drive, and that's my compression slash distortion box, overdrive, whatever. The problem with putting the drive in the beginning of the chain, the problem with that is what you're doing is with compression and distortion, you're distorting your signal. So if you send a distorted signal into your EQ or your modulations, you're doing just that. Think about it. You're distorting the signal, and therefore you're not going to get the sound you want. Your EQ is going to be completely confused, and not because you're sending a distorted signal into it. And your flanging won't sound as good. Your delays won't sound as good. Your coursing won't sound as good. So the point is, you want all that stuff at the beginning of your chain, and then at the back of your chain, your distortions and your compressions. If you set your chain up that way, you're going to be getting the most out of it. I do use the distortion from the amplifier. So I'll have that set up that I can use the actual true distortion of the amp. However, if you do play tube amps, you realize, and I'm sure you know, that to get the nice sound out of that distortion, you have to have it at a level that's not really conducive to household practicing. So I don't really use that a whole lot when I'm doing my videos or I'm practicing at home. I'll use my preamp. That way I can get good distortion without a ton of volume. And that seems to work for me. The jury's still out on this thing. I liked it a lot more when I first got it. The more I fiddle with it, I'm still working out sounds. I had the Line 6, the one they had before, the M9, and I really liked that a lot more. But they were having trouble with the digital display, and that's what happened to mine. It got all screwed up. and then you couldn't, it still worked, but you couldn't see what you were doing. So I got this, and I don't know. I'm still trying to work that out. Yeah, that's the rundown. You know, I got my loopers over here that I use when I used to play out. I never used them too much for band stuff, but I did for duo and solo type gigs. They came in real handy. So the loop stations, and then this stuff in the back here is just stuff that, you know, I occasionally I'll move to the front. Right now I don't have that stuff. Don't have that stuff in. So a little bit of a rundown how you want to work your pedals, guys, just to keep it simple. You know, you go online, and I've gone online and read those forums, and it's these guys are arguing whether you should have delay first and then flange, or flange then delay. You're really splitting hairs at that point, guys. You know, just keep it simple. You know, you want to EQ your signal before you send it into anything if you're using your EQ. So it makes sense that that would be first. And then all your regular modulations, delay, flange, coursing, all that stuff is going to go however you want. I mean, you could, if you want to mire yourself in those debates and go on those forums, have at it. But I wouldn't really get into too much of should flange be before course. Just all your modulation stuff is going to be at the beginning. Just remember your compressors. I have a MXR Dynacomp somewhere. I don't know where it is, but I sometimes use the Dynacomp. So my distortions and my Dynacomp I would have at the back end of my chain, right before I go to the amp, and then all the EQs and the modulations at the beginning. So try that out if you have it set up the opposite way. I rearrange it. You might be surprised with how it sounds. Great little versatile amp here. The Fender Deluxe, Hot Rod Deluxe. I have a couple of these. I used them out for years, and they're great sounding, clean amp, great sounding with the drive channel. So I think this is the 40 watt version, 45 watts, 112. So yeah, so there you have it, guys. Thanks for tuning into the channel. Hit the subscribe button if it strikes you. www.theguitar-shop.com. Email theguitarshopstudios@gmail.com.